Okay, we must be going. I'm pretty sure we're going. Hi, this is Laura from the Yarn Closet in Tucson, Arizona. I know that the video quality is not great. Hopefully the sound quality is better. I have tried to record this repeatedly. I really want to find out how to get video on my Patreon. There have been a lot of questions since we started talking about my mom's eyesight. Why don't the two of you act blind? Okay, I bet everybody knows a couple of older people who are legally blind, and you don't even know it. There are a lot of people like my mom who have macular degeneration and become legally blind in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and it's never talked about. Nothing's ever really done. Only a third of blind people use a dog or a cane. Blind doesn't mean I can't see anything. A very, very tiny percentage of people are born or have something happen where they can't see anything, where it's either black or completely white or there's nothing. The rest of us have sight. And yeah, it's usable. It's not usable to drive. It's not usable to trust. I didn't put out the recycling last week because I was sure I read all the information correctly. I didn't. My mom and I have different things. She needs more light. I need very directed light. I need less light. Yes, I could get her thing in the next 20 years and be completely not see anything blind. So how does it affect our daily life? To go through this at her age, where she also has hearing loss, is emotional. You get anxiety. When we go out in public, whether we use a cane, a person, a dog, or nothing, because we think we know where we are, we feel like we are floating in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by people, but we still feel alone. There's a huge amount of anxiety, exhaustion at trying to use your other senses and decipher them. She is on the list to get some training to how to do that better. I went through that training. I had training at my home. I had training away at a camp that I stayed at, a school that I stayed at. Could I use a refresher? Sure. I don't have that luxury. My mom hasn't driven for 5 years, 6 years. I haven't driven 13. We don't look or act blind because we have blindness in our family, and the people who acted blind got made fun of. The town I grew up in Minnesota had the state blind school. Kids made fun of those other kids when they saw them in public. A lot of the children who are sent to the blind schools have blindness plus. So they may have learning disabilities, they may have other physical limitations. And I think that that's one of the number one reasons why we are not perceived that way. Why when I had a guide dog, people assumed I was training it, that I wasn't using it. When I was little, I did this. My mom trained me to keep it open. I go out of my way to do things to not be perceived as having a disability. I was a single mom living on my own with a child, many states away from any help. I did not want to be perceived as weak or a target. I still don't want to be perceived that way if I am alone with my children. And I am alone out in public with my children. Okay, it's not big public. It's my mobility cart driving my daughter to school. But there's people on the street and they talk to me and sometimes harass me. And there's CVS. I go to CVS. We dress differently because we're very concerned about our modesty. We lose that thing that women have when they get up and they can get dressed really nice and do their hair and makeup and they just feel like that extra bit of confidence. You kind of lose that. When your main accessory is a white cane doesn't go with much. We do most of what we do by other senses, and that's exhausting and frustrating. I just lost a pair of black leggings. I didn't actually lose them. They were in the dark drawer with my other black leggings, and I couldn't figure out which pair was the right pair, and so I got mad. We just make different choices. We write with Sharpies. We write big. We have magnifiers. We take pictures and magnify things on our phones all the time. We don't do as much as we want to do because blind is slow. To be safe and blind, you have to be slow. How does it impact our daily life? I ended up getting all white ceramic or cast iron with some white ceramic cookware so that I could cook a little bit more successfully because the food was getting lost in the dark pans. I bake everything at 350. We don't have whites. I wash everything in a color load, one setting, that's it. I have little dots on my washer and dryer so I know that the dials are set correctly. I can't even think of the last time I used bleach. I hate cleaning products with bleach because I'm too afraid that I'm going to get them on other things and stain stuff. I'm afraid that my clothes have a lot of stains on them, which is why I am wearing more and more black. I just have to live with the fact that my sliding glass door is always dirty, that things always feel dirty even if they look tidy, that I am far more sensitive to smell, so things don't smell good. But then I have to remind myself that maybe other people can't smell that. In the same way I worry if I wear a light t-shirt, can other people see through that? Am I not being modest enough? I don't always buy the right size clothes for my kids if I'm in public trying to actually shop. There was the time I bought the decaf coffee because the packaging was green, only to find out a few days later and many headaches and jitters that it was regular coffee. The packaging has changed. Now they put green on all kinds of coffee, even when it's not decaf. The time my helper bought the big shampoo and the small conditioner, and I always go with the big conditioner and the small shampoo, so I was doing it in the wrong order. I have to talk to strangers. I have to trust that I'm being put in a place with good people who are going to help me. I have had to become way more outgoing. I have to value myself for other things than I valued myself for 20 years ago. And I just have to keep going. Like, it's really hard to answer how does it affect your daily life because it's just such a normal part of it. I still live a life. I just do it differently. I've become okay with not driving to Target every other day. Trust me, my Amazon bill proves it. I still have all the same problems that everybody else does. On top of the exhaustion and the headaches and the feeling stupid when you're talking to someone and you realize halfway through the conversation it's not the person you thought it was. I feel a huge amount of stress, regret, I don't know, because it takes so much from my parents to help me to give my kids a fuller life. And it's not the way it's supposed to be. I have a husband, I had a husband. I didn't have kids expecting that they would have to help me so much. I didn't want that. I don't like having to take that help. My kids don't get to go on play dates because nobody else wants to do all the driving. I can count on one hand the amount of lunches I have out in a year with a girlfriend, or even my dad who doesn't drive anymore. Sure, there's Uber if I want to spend $40 just to get back and forth to the mall. I can't afford that. Now, I have been very lucky financially in my life. I was prepared to some extent, but things still happen. And we all have to be responsible. And when people say that they can't afford it, sometimes that's out of choice because you're trying to safeguard your resources. One thing people don't understand, just because someone wears glasses doesn't mean they see 20/20 with those glasses. With my glasses, I see 21/20 or worse. The higher that second number is, the worse your vision. Blind vision is 2200, which means you can tell color, maybe light and dark. Reading is going to be a challenge. And it's not easy to use all the technology. It takes a lot of effort to remember. Okay, my blue app in the upper left-hand corner is always my weather app. The red and white app on the lower left-hand corner is always supposed to be my grocery app. But then you get an update and it changes the look of the apps. And you're not sure if they're still in the same order, if it's shifted order. You have to trust people when you ask them for help. You have to learn how to be content and fulfilled with what you have. Because I am not wasting my life being sorry for myself or sour. Then, you have to teach your kids that people look with their hands and their eyes. And that's hard for a little kid to understand because they want to touch everything. And mommy gets to touch everything. You have to hold your babies and walk through doorways sideways so you don't bang them. You have to wear pants because there are so many bruises on your legs. I haven't worn shorts since I was 26, for over 20 years. I can't wear the long flowy dresses I used to because they get caught on things and I fall on my face and hurt myself. I can't wear high heels the way I used to. I can't carry everything in a purse that I want to. And if I have to go somewhere that I need my cane, maybe I can't even take a purse. Or maybe I have to wear a backpack. Um, I don't know how else it affects it. I don't get to read books and enjoy the reading of books the way I used to. I was an avid reader. Um, but I kind of traded that out. I mean, 5 to 8 books a week in large print of all kinds of stuff. Listening is not the same. But I traded that and I got more into the yarn stuff. And I've found that I can be more engaged with other people through yarn than through books. So although I lost a lot of that public time with other people, I got it in other ways through the yarn. And I will still tell anyone that asks, marriage is harder than blindness. Having to navigate something with another person so you're both successful and not falling down is much harder. It's much harder. I can fake a lot of things so that people aren't made uncomfortable by my eyesight, and I can manage well enough, and I can be content with what I have to not make other people uncomfortable. I have truly learned how to be content when I don't get what I want. Because I don't get what I want all the time. I don't get to go grocery shopping and buy the foods that I want. I get the foods that the grocery delivery will give me and make accessible to me. It just is what it is. And I'm actually quite blessed by the experience. I don't think I would have understood my son with anxiety had I not gone through the blindness before. Because I have anxiety because of it. I understand him better. I have more compassion and patience for other people. I desperately want to help as many people as I possibly can in any way that I can. And to that, I often volunteer my stepdad to do stuff. Thanks, Ed. And now I have to go try to use a tape measure, which is also not so easy. But I have an 11-year-old in the house, so he'll help me. And no, I don't rely entirely on my children. They do very little for me. They don't feel burdened by me, and they never will. So look with your heart first. Oh, I'm trying to touch screen this.